I would like to talk to you about effective elements of anti-bullying policy in high schools. In the last 2.5 years, 15 organizations in 5 countries worked on the anti-bullying certification project. In this project, we tried to find out how we could help schools to make an effective anti-bullying policy. And one of the things we did was to try to find out what works and what doesn't work. So we did a kind of short review of the anti-bullying literature, and we came up with 6 rules, 6 guidelines for effective anti-bullying policy. And here they are. The first effective element is that you have to start the year by creating safe groups. A class is not just a safe group just like that. You have to create that. And research shows that this goes in different phases. So teachers have to be trained how to create those phases and how to facilitate this process in a proper way. If you don't do that, you will have a big chance that you create anarchy or allow anarchy to exist, and then you can't really work in that class anymore the rest of the year. So create safe groups in the first few weeks of the year. A second element that we found out from research is that explaining to students and to teachers, of course, how bullying processes work is very important. Most people think that bullying is a question of a perpetrator and a victim, and they bully each other. But this is not true. In reality, it's a bully, or sometimes more, and a victim, or sometimes more. And there are a lot of bystanders. People who help the bully, people who help the victim, a lot of people in between, and all these other people are called bystanders. Now, research on bullying shows that working with the bystanders is much more effective than working with perpetrators or victims. And you have to understand how these processes work and why bystanders remain bystanders. And this shows why it's important to explain how bullying works. The third element is that you have to involve everyone in the school to develop the anti-bullying policy. The parents, the teachers, and the students. Not only the school management can decide how to make an effective anti-bullying policy. What this goes back to is research that shows that commitment of all the stakeholders in an organization to a new policy or an innovation is essential. So do it together. A fourth effective element is positive behavior support. And in short, this means focus on the positive parts. Give students compliments, support them when they do something well, but don't spend too much attention on the negative things. Many schools think that an anti-bullying policy is to define punishments for bad behavior. Now, research shows that punishment doesn't work at all. It works maybe on the very short term, but usually it works to create a situation where students who misbehave outside of the view of the teachers or the authorities. So punishment in the end never works and creates a nasty atmosphere, and positive behavior works. Positive behavior support. The fifth effective element is to focus on a whole school policy and on the positive parts on it. Now, many anti-bullying policies focus on how to handle nasty incidents. And this is not a good way. You focus just on the bad things and on the incidents, but you don't look at the greater part in the school. So it's very important to look at the whole picture, to the whole culture of the school, and to avoid losing yourself into incidents. The sixth element is about rules. You have to have rules, otherwise you cannot function in a class, in a school, or in society. So we have to set rules. And 2 aspects are very important. First, you have to make the rules together, because otherwise you don't have commitment of all the stakeholders. And the second place, you have to do it within 6 weeks of the school year. A Dutch research showed that when you set the rules in the first 6 weeks of the year, then they are effective. And it doesn't really matter what kind of rules you have. Because whatever rules you make, any group would kind of make the similar kind of rules, because being social and polite to each other is a kind of general human value. But if you leave it and you do it not in the first 6 weeks of the year, then there is a big chance that you have anarchy and that you cannot really try to set rules again after that. Within 6 weeks then. So these are 6 rules. What do you think of it? Join us in the discussion about anti-bullying certification in schools at gale.info/abc.